if I told you guys a best and worst case scenario in the playoffs to start, and I know what people are going to say, doesn't matter who you play. You're going to have to face these guys anywhere. You shouldn't be avoiding teams right now. I'm not telling you that you avoid teams, but I'm going to tell you what my preferences are. My preference is please get in that number 3 spot. There is a wild difference between number 3 and number 4 in the Western Conference. Now, I know there's still a bunch of scenarios that can still play out. I know that, as we sit here today, so much can happen with just 7 games left and about a week and a half left in the regular season. It's very, very exciting, by the way, just because each one of these nights, there's something at stake, it seems like. There is a wild, wild difference between 3 and 4. If the Golden State Warriors lock up that number 5 spot, which, they only have a half-game lead on Memphis. You got Memphis, Minnesota, and the Clippers, all 32 losses. You got Golden State with 31 losses. But if you told me that your path to get to the Western Conference Finals, as an example, is Memphis in the first round, Houston in the second round, and yes, Houston, it looks like, would have home court. You're not going to tell me that's not wildly different than the Golden State Warriors in the first round and OKC in the second round? That sounds like a team that's got a legitimate shot at getting to the Western Conference Finals and taking their chances there. And another scenario that can play out where, Golden State in the first round, OKC in the second. I mean, I could be as optimistic as I want as a Laker fan. That's a tough, tough path. That's a really, really tough path. So watching those games yesterday, you obviously got a chance to kind of see, okay, well, what does this look like? What does it happen here? I saw something that I should have noticed this down the road. They have playoff probabilities on Basketball Reference. They got these playoff probabilities. Let me share this with you guys. We can look at it together. Let me see what we got here. I hope today is one of those days where every single outlet out there is talking about how special the NBA was last night. Because I think we all know this, and this is just kind of the world that we live in. Man, everyone loves shitting on the NBA. They just absolutely love demolishing the NBA. For whatever reason, they love it. They love doing it. And as I sit here, and if you're going to do that, and that's how you're going to look at the NBA, can you at least from last night's game, look back and say, wow, the NBA is special with a guy like Nikola Jokic in the league. The NBA is special to have a player like Steph Curry in the league. The NBA is special to have those two teams have, obviously the game. By the way, Ja Morant was really good for the Memphis Grizzlies. Jokic, Denver didn't even win the game, so it shows you what Ant did and all these other players, especially missing 2 key players from the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just hope there's a little bit of love that goes to the league because it feels like there's only negativity that goes to the league, even when good things happen. Okay, so Basketball Reference, I'm sharing this with you guys here. It's showing out playoff kind of like predictions here, what's most likely. Okay, so let me show you guys this. This is the Lakers. Obviously, they got no chance to be the number 1 seed. They only have a 3.6% chance to be the number 2 seed. So really what you're looking at here, they got about a 26% chance for number 3, 37% chance for number 4, and about a 17% chance for number 5. Okay? I'm just kind of playing out some of these scenarios. The Warriors, 22.8% chance at number 5. And then Minnesota, a 20. And this probably has something to do with tiebreakers, strength schedule, and everything else. You could also get Minnesota in the first round if you're in that number 4 or 5 spot. Right now, technically, it would be Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Look at all these different scenarios that are still playing out. Even a team like Memphis, 19% chance at number 6, 31% chance at number 7, 13% chance. The point I'm trying to make is there are still so many scenarios that are playing out. And if you thought that some of these games that the Lakers have been playing over the course of these, let me give you an example. Take the Houston Rockets or take the Memphis Grizzlies game on Saturday, where we all still trying to figure out what the hell happened against Chicago. And then, you kind of start watching to see, all right, well, Is this kind of what the Lakers are going to be? Are the Lakers just going to struggle? They lost that game to the Bulls. They got a chance of going 1-3 on this road trip. Is this kind of what the Lakers are? And then all of a sudden they get that win against the Memphis Grizzlies. It's like, all right, there's some positivity right there. Then they get that win against the Houston Rockets, a tough game against Houston. And Lakers will get a chance to see them again here before the regular season ends. Now you got the Golden State Warriors coming up tomorrow. I mean, if you could figure out a way, tomorrow's going to be a dogfight. And tomorrow I'm going to have Anthony Slater on, who covers the Golden State Warriors. So that's going to be a good conversation that we could have together. But you want to talk about playoff positioning. You want to talk about, I mean, if I'm the Golden State Warriors, do I want the Lakers in the first round? I'm sure there's maybe a little bit of hesitation there. For them, they might be saying, yeah, we'd rather play the Lakers than the Denver Nuggets. I have no idea. I don't know matchup-wise what they would prefer, anything like that. But if you're the Lakers, if you thought that game against Memphis was big, you thought that game against Houston was big, and now you're sitting here where the Lakers are with some of these other teams and all these other teams around you, it's just wild to look at how close everybody is. Lakers could still play the Clippers in the first round. They could play Minnesota in the first round. They could play Memphis in the first round. They could play Golden State in the first round. If Denver maybe collapsed, there's maybe a scenario where they play the Nuggets in the first round. I mean, you got so many different scenarios, but all I'm saying is this. It would be very, very nice to not have to play the Golden State Warriors in the first round, followed by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the second round. That's all I'm trying to say. That's the only point that I'm trying to get.
It's going to be very interesting and telling about where this Lakers team is once again. I mean, they've continued to have tests throughout these last few weeks with some of these top playoff contenders that, we will see kind of how Jimmy Butler, the style is in person. Obviously they've won some big games. They won against Denver recently at Denver. They've had
Memphis yesterday too.
At Memphis, yeah. Mm-hmm. So they've had some of these big wins as well in the West against Western Conference opponents that they will see potentially in the playoffs as well. So I really think that for the Lakers, it's just going to be another test. Personally, I know that we're going to get to it in a little bit, but personally, I don't want to see Golden State in the first round. I don't want to see Denver in the first round. Those are the two teams that I would like to stay away from if possible, just because of it's going to take a lot to pull out, the series against them, even if they're not the teams that, as of the past, where Denver was a juggernaut and it was difficult for the Lakers to get over that hump. So in terms of tomorrow's game, I'm expecting, them to put on a show. Barring any health, I believe that everybody's going to be healthy for the Lakers as far as we know so far. So it's going to be a great matchup and definitely, a potential playoff matchup as well.
It's funny when you say you'd like to avoid the Warriors in the first round, Denver in the first round. Just like, okay, what do those teams have in common? Both have championship pedigree.
Yes.
Both understand how to win in the playoffs. Both can kind of, both have MVP caliber players. And I know there's no perfect scenario once you get to the postseason, but doesn't it feel wildly different between the number 3 spot and the number 4 spot? If the playoffs started today, that's the scenario. You not only get Golden State in the first round, but then you got OKC in the Western, or not even in the Western Conference Finals, in the second round.
Yes.
Where I think what we were just talking about, now, I don't think we're trying to disrespect the Houston Rockets, but if you played out a scenario where you had Memphis in the first round or Clippers or Minnesota, I mean, you kind of name any of those teams, and it's not that they don't have talent, but a lot of those teams, I think over a 7-game set, I would feel a lot more comfortable with. And I think something 100%. that you mentioned too, it's even if you get out of the first round, if you got Warriors in the first round, but just the grind to get out of that first round, and then you got the Thunder waiting for you.
Exactly. Like, that's not a reward.
All right. Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.